Hi, my beautiful artists. I hope you all are having a phenomenal, beautiful day and may it continue to be that way. Consistency. Okay, so when you're in this new journey, when you are trying to become this version of you, trying to get to this end goal, trying to prove yourself that you can really do this, one of those things that you are going to have to do is be consistent. And to be consistent does not mean that you have to replicate the same thing over and over again. It doesn't mean that you need to show up at 1,000 every day, because then you're going to burn yourself out. So you need to understand that yes, it's important for you to be consistent. Yes, it's very important for you to maintain that. However, you also need to be realistic with yourself. And unless if you have the means to be consistent in the same way possible every single day, then please by all means do that. However, for those of you who don't have the time, don't have the frame that you need to do to be consistent at 1,000 every single day, it's okay. I don't want you to feel guilty for that. I don't want you to feel guilty because you can't be at 1,000 every day. Listen, not every single day is going to be the same. Not every day is going to be one of those productive days or one of those days where time permits you to show up that way. And like I said, please don't feel guilty about that, because there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. It just simply means that you need to still be consistent in different ways. So if that means still showing up for whatever you're doing, maybe an hour or two, or maybe even 30 minutes or even 10, then do that. But allow yourself to still be consistent. And if you know that you can't do it that same day, and you know that you might have to skip a day, that is okay. Don't beat yourself up for it. However, if you also feel like I can work around this, or I can use the one day that I do have off from work to set a certain schedule, or even get some extra stuff done when I am off, because I know that I won't be able to do it on this day and that day, or this time and that time. So it's all about redirecting your pieces to fit you. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for you to figure out the full moving pieces, for you to fully understand what time, where, when, how you can do these things. And along the process, you can't beat yourself up for it, because you can't beat yourself for something that's unknown. You can't put that much pressure on you when you still don't have the full picture, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you won't get to your end goal, because you will. You just got to understand that to begin with, to start off, you do need to understand that there's going to be trials and errors. There's going to be pivotal moments in your life where, like I said, you'll be able to get something done in a full day, versus there's going to be days where you're not going to be able to even have the time to show up, at least not fully the way you want to. And you got to also understand that sometimes you can still show up just by having a simple thought, just by writing something down. You have to understand that consistency doesn't always mean the same thing over and over again. You will get to your end goal. You will reach whatever you need to reach within the time frame that you need to reach. And like I said, there's divine timing for everything. As hard it is for us to accept as human beings that sometimes we need to let go of that picture or that thought or the way we feel something should happen, how it should happen. Listen, as a perfectionist myself, that is hard. It is hard to let go. It is hard to fully release control and not plan every second. Like, you guys, it is hard. It's very hard. There's days where I have time to make videos. There's days that I don't. There's days that I can upload, and there's days I can schedule stuff. And right now, I'm also in the same phase, trying to figure out what days, what works better, what time frames work better. And again, there are days where, and it's understandable. Like, that's why I said you have to understand that it's not always going to look the same. Yes, it may make you feel like you're not doing something right, or that you're lacking somewhere, or that you feel like you are just doing something wrong when you're not. You are doing the best that you can with what you have, and you will continue to do that. However, don't discourage yourself either. Don't discourage yourself and think that you're not being consistent. You have to understand consistency looks so different in so many different forms. And like I said, you don't have time to do that thing. Fine, that is okay. Pick it up whenever you need to pick it up, or however you can, whenever you can. And if that simply means pulling out your phone and putting in a note in your phone, or a voice recording in your phone, or gathering like different informations from the interweb and just stocking a pile up of files that you can read later, that is okay. Again, these are all different forms of still being consistent without having to fully be at 1,000. And although we want to give ourselves that 1,000, we want to give ourselves more than 100% all the time. Let's be realistic. Life be lifing. Let's be realistic. There's some days that it's going to work out, and there's some days that it's not going to work out, and that is okay. That is okay. But you need to sit down and ask yourself, what does consistency look like for you? And honestly, this was one that I kind of just had. I'm still learning myself, because in my head, I always felt like consistency was being there all the time. All the time, 100%, 1,000%. There's no less than that, no less. However, I've also learned that that will cause stress. That will cause you to go into panic and overdrive, and you're going to start to feel like, one, that you're not doing the best that you can. So you're taking that away from yourself. Two, you are learning that the more pressure you add to yourself, the more you start to not necessarily hate the process, because you're still going to love the process. You're just going to feel some type of way. You're going to start to pull all these doubts and negativity out there that don't belong in there to begin with. So with that being said, learn to understand your consistency. Learn to understand that your consistency is not always going to look the same every day. However, as long as you are doing the best that you can with what you have, however you can do that, you are being consistent. You are constantly evolving. You are constantly changing. And again, like I've said it a couple times before, in this journey, learning who you are, learning the art of you, it's not an easy one. It's not one that you can do overnight. It's one that requires time and patience. Although, again, everything's not so easy. It's not. It's not. And you need to understand that it's okay, that if you get overwhelmed for a second, that if you feel stressed for a second, pull back, and don't necessarily pull the plug all the way. Just pull back enough to see, where can I make some adjustment? Where can I do certain things? Where can I show up a little bit more this day? Where can I show up a little bit less this day? When can I give myself a break too? Because I'm glad that you're being consistent. I'm glad that you're pushing yourself, but don't push yourself to the point where you're going to burn out, where you're just going to crash and burn. Don't do that. You don't deserve that. So yes, keep working, keep showing up for yourself, keep being consistent. Just remember, consistency is always going to look different. It's going to look very different every day. And that is okay. That is perfectly fine. So my beautiful artists, keep creating your art, keep doing you, and keep being as amazing as you are. And the day, may it be as beautiful as you are always. I love you guys. Bye.